All right, good morning again, MUC T105L class, Intro to Theory, Lab. This is going to be our midweek lecture for week 2. I guess it's more for week 3. We're going into Friday of week 3. Okay, first thing I want to do is look at the syllabus. As I told you in class last Friday, we would look at the syllabus here online together. I have updated and uploaded the new syllabus, the new updated syllabus with our new based on our new schedule since we missed 1 week of class, is up on the Blackboard website. So if you log into to Blackboard and you look at like course materials, whatever, on the left-hand side there, where the materials for the class are, you'll see the syllabus listed there. So just check that out. So if you have it with you, if you've printed it out, or if you have it up on your computer right now, let's go over it briefly together so we can be sure we know all of the parts of the class. So beginning, I'm reading it from my computer here. So the name of the class and everything. Again, you have my contact information, my office downstairs in 129, my cell number if you need to call or text if there's an emergency of some kind, and my email address. As I said on Friday, the class is comprised of sight singing, meaning that you are singing, reading something that you have never seen before, and of course we are doing it in solfege, which we introduced. Rhythmic skills, using the T's and T's, and we're going to have a chance to do a little of that in this remote lecture. Melodic and harmonic dictation, which we will introduce in next week's class on Friday, and assignments and self-guided study outside of class. There'll be plenty of that. As I mentioned, the materials, the new approach to sight singing, 5th edition by Berkowitz, and the 2nd edition of the rhythm reading book by Daniel Kazez are down in the bookstore now. You need to get them. You need to pick them up. We will be doing all of our class activities in those 2 books. The objectives, we're trying to get you the basic skills necessary for professional musicianship at any level, whether you are a sound engineer, whether you are a performer, a music educator, a researcher, all of these things, all of these basic skills that we're dealing with here are necessary in order for you to be successful in those different fields of professional musicianship. Just 2 years of this class are not going to be enough to turn you into kind of an ear training superstar, but it will give you the skills you need to begin to work on your own. Okay, 2 years will give you a good framework, a good vocabulary, and from there you can start improving on your own. Attendance. Most of the work we do is in class, hence the need for the Berkowitz and the Kazez books in the class. Because we only meet once a week physically and we do so much of the work in class, attendance is really, really necessary, a must. You really can't miss more than 1 or 2 classes before you start getting yourself into some serious trouble. If you have an absence, or if there's something going on, if you have some sort of an emergency that happens, please let me know, either by text message or by email, so we can excuse your absence if it's necessary. Examples of absences that cannot be excused: if you slept in, or if you just happened to come in late from somewhere because of traffic. Always, make sure that you have enough time to get to class when you need to. Of course, there are exceptions to everything, and of course, I'll take them on a case-by-case basis. But generally, it needs to be some sort of a documentable emergency. All right, the class schedule. This is updated. So you see, week 3, our next class period, is when you have the first printout assignment, the goodear.com assignment due, and in week 4, a week from Friday, is when you'll have your first dictation assignment due. So in week 4, and the dates are here, these are when they are due. That's for instance, dictation assignment 2 is due in week 5, October 26th. That's the time you have to come with it in your hand and turn it in. All right, assignments, and as I mentioned in class on Friday, all assignments are 100% when turned in on time and complete and on time. That's dictation worksheets, printouts, and the field report, which we're about to talk about. For each day that occurs between the due date and when you turn it in, there will be a 20% deduction. It's a little harsh, but since I'm giving you 100% if the assignment is turned in on time, it's pretty reasonable to assume and to expect that you can turn them in then. All right, the field report. To do the field report, scroll down or flip to the very last page of the syllabus. You will notice a page there that says field report. There are a number of pieces of information you will need to fill out. And what the field report is it is a time for you to go to some sort of a live music event. It must be live. It can't be online. It can't be a video. It can't be a DVD. Something on an iPod with video or anything like that. It has to be a live, physical, musical event that you yourself are attending. And the purpose is for you to have some sort, to be able to listen, to integrate certain concepts that you hear, and be able to explain them, and be able to write them down in real time, in whatever amount of time it takes for you, or it takes for the piece of music to run. So, the elements here: name, that of course is your name, the title of the work or the name of the song, the composer or the author or the songwriter or whoever it is, or even the artist who performs it. And then there are a number of pieces here. Style, what style of music is this? If you don't know, or if you don't feel you really have the words to describe it, use the words that you know. Many of you are freshmen, most of you I believe are freshmen, and may not know many musical terms yet. If that is the case, use your creativity. Do your best to explain what kind of style, or any of these things that you have to write down in the field report. Use the words that you know and do the very best you can to try to explain what it is. Form, how's the piece organized? If it's a standard song that has like a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus, which is most of pop songs, let me know how that works. What do you hear? You heard something at the beginning and then something different, and then it came back to the same thing at the beginning. That's something that you can try to explain. Instrumentation. What instruments did you hear? If it was a brass quintet, don't just say it was a brass quintet. Tell me what instruments were there. A brass quintet would have 2 trumpets, a French horn, a trombone, and a tuba. If it was a band, if it was a 4-piece band, tell me it was lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, and drums. Okay, that kind of information. Meter. Did this kind of have a 2-feel, or a 3-feel, or a 4-feel? Mode. Was this more major? Was this more minor? The melodic contour, so the melody. Was it a relatively smooth melody that didn't have a lot of leaps in it, or did it leap all around? Let me know what that is. The basic harmonic structure. You may not know the answers to these things because you haven't had an awful lot of harmony yet. And again, use the words you know to describe as best as you can. Were there a lot of major chords, a lot of minor chords, a lot of jazz chords? Talk a little bit about the harmony. And in the bottom there, the dictation, I've written you 4 lines. There are 4 staff lines here. You do not have to fill all 4 of those lines. That would be great if you could. They're there. There are so many lines there to give you a little bit of doodle space. You can try and write something down. If it doesn't work, you can go to another line. What I want you to do is I want you to write down something from this piece of music that you're listening to, some live piece of music. It can be anything. It can be a little guitar hook from the beginning that really sticks in your brain. It can be a little drum fill, a little rhythmic device. It can maybe be a harmony that you heard. It can be anything. Just do your very best to try to write something down that you heard. Now, it doesn't have to be in the right key or anything like that, because honestly, there's no way that I would know if it was in the right key, unless, of course, you were dictating something I was doing myself. But for the most part, you're probably not going to be dictating something where I'm there, so I'm not going to be able to check up on it. So do your very best, but the key is not quite as important. Okay, so that is the field report. That's going to be due during finals week. Okay, that will be kind of the final little project that you're going to do. All right, go back to the first, second, third page, the third page of the syllabus, down to the bottom paragraph where we talk about dictation worksheets. Now, I've already uploaded a video about intro to dictation, and this coming Friday we're going to spend a lot of time talking about dictation and different strategies and methods that we could use to make it a little bit easier for you. But let me, again, reemphasize what's going on, because this is actually the largest single component of your grade is the dictation worksheets, and there's quite a lot of work to be done here. So every week, beginning in week 4, you will turn in a set of dictations. You're going to need to go to my YouTube channel, LSU Ear Training, and so watch the introductory video appropriate for that week. So in week 1, week 1 for assignment 1, watch dictation. Look for dictation assignment 1. Search it in the YouTube channel, and I'll explain what we're doing there, and then there will be a certain number of dictations for that. That is in the class schedule, back on the previous page, A through O. So you will look for 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, etc., and write those things down. Okay, go to the next page, printouts. I've also talked to you about Goodyear.com and how that works. There are 8 total printouts beginning. Your first one is due this Friday, so make sure you get on top of that. That's good-ear.com. And just keep in mind the 2 different ways that I will allow you to turn this in. You can either do a screen capture of some kind and send it to me in an email, or you can make a physical printout, put your name on it, and turn it into me on the Friday it's due. An emailed turn-in is perfectly acceptable. Actually, it's a little bit easier because it's less paper for me to handle, although either way is fine, depending on what is easiest for you. But if it's turned in online, it does need to be in before our Friday class time. Okay, remote lectures. You're watching one now, so I will be communicating to you through Blackboard when there is a lecture, a remote lecture for you to watch included. This will be the first one that I will communicate to you through Blackboard. So just click on the links, follow the announcements, and that should be fine. Okay, here's the grading. As you can see, the percentages are relatively simple. Attendance and participation is 30% of the grade, so it's very expensive, which is why attendance is very important. The printouts, of which there are 8, are 20% of the grade. The field report is 10%, and the dictation assignments, by far the largest percentage of your total grade, 40%. So as you can see, I put a lot of emphasis on homework in this class. 70% of your total grade is in homework or project or assignments that you will need to turn in. So you can get 70% of your grade for free if you turn them in complete and on time. So you could ostensibly pass this class with a C- without ever showing up. I don't recommend that because it will be very difficult for you to pass if you don't attend the lectures and figure out what we're doing. Okay, so that is the syllabus. So let's go on to a couple of other concepts. Let me grab my notes, and we'll go on here. We're going to do some singing and some rhythmic exercises. So let's go ahead and warm up together on our solfege scale. Okay, you should have these written on the notes that you've been taking in class. And also, you know the solfege scale from the solfege introductory exercise. Here, let me move that a little bit. The solfege introductory exercise on that you were to watch last week. So I'm not going to write the syllables, the long and short of this. I'm not going to write the syllables. I want these to be memorized as much as possible from now on. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Let me give you do on the piano, our key of C major. And let's sing it through 2 times. Please sing it with me. 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And if you want a little bit more time to warm up, just pull the slider back and watch it again, and we can, not the whole video of course, but the scalar section again, and you can sing that as many times as you want if you want to get ahead of it. All right, jump on in to your textbooks. You should have your textbooks by now, as per instructions. I told you should probably go down immediately to the bookstore and pick it up. So start with the Berkowitz book, the Soul Berkowitz book, the new approach to sight singing book. We sight read through some of page 5 on Friday. We did actually all of page 5 on Friday. We did the first 3 examples. So turn to page 6 and let us do a couple more examples. So far we've done everything in the key of C major and F major. So let's start on F major again. Remember, we use the movable solfege system. The movable solfege system. So in the case of number 4 on page 6, which is in the key of F major, Do is F. So our first note is Do. Let me roll you the key of F major. Do. And let's count off number 4. Now you may notice there's kind of a strange, it looks like a C cut in half. Sometimes we call that cut time. Don't worry about it. Let's just treat it like 4/4 time for now. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we are. I'll count one measure and let's sing it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Mi, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. And remember, when you're singing this along with me, hold it to the very end of the last measure of that whole note, all the way to the end of 4. All right, let's look at number 5. Okay, and here we have a little bit of a different scenario because we have a different key. There's one sharp in the key signature, which makes it the key of G major. Okay, and if that is the key of G major, Do is always the name of the key. G. Okay, so it's easy to remember. Once you know your keys, you'll know the name. You'll know what Do is because it'll be the name of the key. So key of G, G is Do. Let's give this one a try. 4/4 time again. Let me roll G major. Do. And let's go ahead and try and sing through this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi. Mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. All right, let's try one more. We're going to do one more singing. Another little bit of a brain teaser because we're dealing with another key altogether. This one with 2 sharps in it. A key with 2 sharps, a major key with 2 sharps, is the key of D. D, so Do is D. The first note that you see in number 6 of the Berkowitz. Okay, notice this one is in 3/4 time, so you're getting 3 beats to the bar. It's a little bit longer. Let's go on a nice slow tempo to make sure. And of course, with any of these, you are more than welcome. If you didn't get it that first time, pull that slider back, sing it again. Okay. Let's, I forgot, key of D. There it is. I'll count off 2 measures in 3/4 time to get you started. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, sol. that's how we do it. Okay, put your Berkowitz book away and let us pick up the Kazez book. Do some rhythm reading. Now, the handout I gave you before the books were all in, we took page 12, and we did the first couple of examples on page 12. So open up the Kazez book to page 12, and let's look at number 4. Number 4, where it says presto. All right, we're going to try that. So take a quick look at what we can expect here. We're in 2/4 time, so 2 beats to the bar only. Okay, there are rests here, there are dynamics. Remember the little invisible ink illustration we used? If all the notes are gone, we still have dynamics. We still have the louds and softs. So we start forte, and then in measure 7, piano. Then by measure, I believe it's 13, forte again, and 15, piano, with a crescendo, so a gradual loudening to forte in the very last measure. Remember the ties. Remember when you have 2 quarter notes tied together, like you do in measures 15, 16, and 17, that just means you add them together. You don't re-articulate them. And remember the articulation we're using is T for every pitch. I'll give you 2 measures and we're in. 1, 2, 1, 2. T, 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 T. Good. Turn the page over to page 13 and let's get into triple meter. Now we just got into triple meter a little bit because we were reading out of the Berkowitz. Triple meter means exactly what it feels. There are 3 beats to the measure. So let's try number 5 and 6, and that's all we'll do for today. Number 5 on page 13 we call the preparatory drill. They're just showing you, especially in measure 3 with the half note tied to the quarter note, how we get to a dotted quarter note. And let me just briefly remind you of what the augmentation dot does. So we have a half note which receives 2 beats. You add a dot, that now equals 3 beats. So what the dot does is it takes the note value that it's next to and extends it by half. So it takes half of what's here and adds it together. So if you wanted to look at it this way, if you think of a half note as being 2 quarter notes tied together, you dotted it, it's like you're taking half, which is another quarter note, and adding it to it. You can do this with anything. If you did this with a whole note, okay, a whole note is 4 beats, you add a dot, 2 beats, because 2 is half of 4, and you have 6. Okay. Anytime you add a dot, you're adding half. And we'll get into other concepts like the double augmentation dot and things like that later. But let's go back to number 5, the preparatory drill. I'll give you 2 measures in 3, and we'll be in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. T, 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 T. Good. Now let's go on to number 6. Careful, they do have both ties and the augmentation dots meant to establish a 3-beat unit here, so be careful, you can tell between. You may find that the most difficult part of this one is the rests, is making sure that the rests are at the correct length. Sometimes we get a little bit afraid of silence. Just let the rests, I'm snapping my fingers to keep the beat, so just count your way right through the rests just as you would through the T's. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. T, 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 piano. T, 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 forte. T, 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 piano, T, 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 off. Good. Okay. Whenever you see your Berkowitz and your Kazez books lying around, good idea just to pop them open and double check, check a couple things out, practice some things. Even when you're walking around campus, it may make you look weird, you may think, but practice your solfege scale. That's how I learned my solfege scales, walking around this very campus 15 years ago, singing my solfege scales up and down so I could learn them a little bit better. So just a reminder of the things that are due on Friday. Your very first GoodAir.com skills assignment is due. You need to do 50 diatonic intervals and 50 chords. We covered these already in class, so you should be in pretty good shape there. All right? We'll see you guys on Friday. Looking forward to it. See you then.